heard a lot this morning from people like Coca-Cola and the connection to passion, the whole issue of trust. You heard from Rock about engaging people's hearts. And a lot of that is actually biological in us. It's really kind of cool that that's who we are as human beings. So what we tried to do at NASA was look at really what the culture was we were working from. And when we were looking to develop people, part of the challenge that we had was we come from a very competency-based culture. One of the stories my boss likes to tell is when you're in a room of really smart engineers, it's like the conversation is, well, you're not the only one in the room who knows everything. We all know everything. So in that kind of culture, it's really hard for people to step back and say, you know, I don't know. So even when you would come to a learning environment or a training class that's supposed to be a safe place to learn, no, I know it all, you know, because, you know, I can't admit that I don't know something. That didn't leave a lot of room for possibility for people. It didn't leave a lot of room for people to sort of explore new ways of doing things. So I think it's the Japanese saying, shoshan, is when you have the beginner's mind, so that you can let other things in, and you put sort of that what you think you know over here to the side, and don't let that impact your judgment. The other thing that we were noticing too was that we would spend these 10 to 14 days torturing our employees in this environment. They'd go back to their rooms. They would try to get all their work done overnight. You all have like one of these, right? You don't go anywhere without it, or your cell phone. And they would try to get a whole day's worth of work in when they went back to their rooms on their laptops before they'd come back to class the next day. So you can imagine how invigorated they were in the morning. But what we were noticing beyond that was when they'd go back to their home organizations, nothing changed. They'd have the aha moments in the class. They'd be a little bit excited about what they learned. They create some networking across the agency. That's probably the most valuable thing we did, was bring people from our 10 centers together in one place and beginning to talk across our different cultures. That was very valuable. But when they got back to their organizations, very little changed. And when the organization was trying to make significant change or change something in the culture or do something differently, it just wasn't happening. There wasn't a lot of leverage to the amount of time and resources that we were spending on this. Again, I mentioned the introvert overwhelm.